Hello, everybody. Okay, if you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Ready to go. So today I'm trying something a little different. This happened yesterday by accident where my face was on video, so I think I'm going to try it today. If you guys don't like it today, then you know what? No. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. It's not going to be like this always. Okay, it's not going to be like this all the time. Just something I'm giving a try. So we'll see how it goes. But like I said, if this is not something you love, you like the way we always do it, don't worry. We just like to change things up every once in a while to give a different experience to everybody, kind of mix it up. Thanks, Christina. Obviously, this is scary for me. If you guys know, if you know my story, doing these webinars was scary into itself. And this is the first time I'm actually showing my face, so that's even more daunting. But with that being said, let's get going. We're going to talk about appraisal today. So everybody in the chat, right, let's go appraisal. You may hear this as property ownership, valuation and market analysis. You may hear it as appraisal. Could be phrased different ways, but we're going to go over this concept and see what we could do to help you pass. Fix the camera, and we're good to go. Oh, sorry, I didn't organize very well. Got my pillows there. All right, so when we talk about appraisal, right in the chat, first thing, what are the essential elements of value? Write for me in the chat the essential elements of value. What are the essential elements of value? What do you guys think? What are the essential elements of value? That's where this all starts. That's where it all begins. So stud. Some people write stud, dust, tizada, whatever you want. Stud, dust, tizada, I don't care. So what it stands for is scarcity, transferability, utility, and demand. Everybody write that down. Scarcity, transferability, utility, and demand. Scarcity, transferability, utility, and demand. Or dust, demand, utility, scarcity, transferability, whatever works for you, whatever is going to help you remember, that's what you should do. So is there an element of cost when judging value? Do you look at how much an item cost when you think about the value? What do you guys think? Is cost relevant to the value? And the answer is no. Why? I don't know why. I just know there's no C in dust. There's no C in stud. Cost is not relevant to the value. Cost is not relevant to the value. Okay, just think about it. If you're selling your house and you say it's $500,000, and if I say, well, what'd you pay for it? What would you say? Screw you, none of your business. Because what you paid for it has no relevance to what you're selling it for, right? You may have done some amazing thing to it over the years. So cost is not relevant to the value. Okay, good. What is an appraiser? What does an appraiser do? What does an appraiser do? What do you guys think? What does an appraiser do? What do you guys think? So the appraiser gives an opinion of value. It's not the actual value. What's the true value of the property? What's the true value of the property? What do you guys think? What's the true value of that property? What do you guys think is the true value of that property? What it sells for. Nice job, Amanda. High five to Amanda. Good job, Amanda. Whatever a ready, willing, able buyer will pay for, whatever it sells for. Okay? That's the true value. Now, in order to find that opinion of the value, the appraiser could use different methods, and so could you, frankly. Anybody could. What are the appraisal methods you've learned while studying for the real estate exam? What do you guys think? And by the way, if my eyes are wandering, it's because I'm looking at the chat, in case you guys are wondering what I'm looking at. Looking at the chat here. So what are the different methods of appraisal? I see market data, good. Cost approach and income approach, excellent. Good job, guys. The good thing about me doing this with the video in front of my face is you guys can see I really know what I'm talking about. I don't just read from a script. The bad part is I can't drink water and I can't eat a cookie while I'm teaching. I used to be able to very quietly chew on something. But now I just gotta get through this all parched and hungry. But for you guys, anything. Okay, so the different things you have is the market value approach called the market data comparison approach. The cost approach, which is the cost replacement approach, and the capitalization income approach. The capitalization income approach. Okay, which of those approaches is the most common? What's the most common? What do you guys think? So what's the most common? What do you guys think? Out of those three approaches. The market data approach, good. When do you guys use the market data approach? When do you guys use the market data approach? So the market data approach is used basically in every aspect of your life. I saw somebody mention Trader Joe's. When they go to Trader Joe's and they see that fancy orange juice for sale, you know it's expensive because you compare it to all the other orange juice you bought in your life or orange juice at the supermarket next door. Okay, so you're comparing. So just simplify everything. Before you guys get into these higher end real estate concepts, just understand the most simple aspect of this. And the market data approach is what you use when you buy orange juice, when you buy shoes, and of course, when you list your house. My home is worth 500 grand. Why? Because the home next door, okay, is listing for 400 grand, but their choice of carpet was hideous, and mine is amazing, obviously. So clearly mine is worth 100 grand more, right? How many of you guys think like that? Be honest, don't lie. You see the house next door, you compare it to the house next door, you think their taste in carpeting and pool design is just appalling, and therefore you tack on 100 grand to yours, okay? You're doing comps. When you do comps, what do? You go back. How long do you generally go back when you do comps? How much time, what's the time frame you use? What do you guys think? Generally speaking, what's that time frame used when you use comps? These are called comps, comparables. What time frame do you usually go back? Usually about 6 months. Nice job, Kamitria. Good job. Okay, usually about 6 months. Now, obviously, that could vary. That's an objective opinion of how to do things, but generally speaking, people go back 6 months to find comps. And like I said, different areas, different type of properties may have different standards. But generally speaking, you go about 6 months. You see what was sold, what was listed. You see all the activity around your property in the past 6 months. Okay? So based upon that, oh, congratulations, Davis Haley. Everybody said congratulations, Davis. He passed. Now, based upon what we learn about the comps, what is the flaw with it? And by the way, I know this sounds like I'm teaching real estate practice, but this is stuff that's on your exam. So you got to know this. As you guys know, I try not to get into stuff that's not directly related to your exam. Okay, so what is the flaw of doing comps? What do you guys think? So one flaw is no two properties are exactly alike. Like we talked about your next door neighbor with the hideous carpeting, right? And you're making a judgment call on how much it affects the value, but really you don't know. Somebody else said rapid economic change. We just went back 6 months. Think about 2020, all that happened in a 6 month period. A lot could happen in a 6 month period, right, guys? There could be a lot going on in a 6-month period. And the other thing, what if you're in an area that has minimal activity? There's just not a lot going on. Like you live out in the country where there's not a lot of properties near you, and it's just really hard to find the value because there's not a lot of activity. Okay, so an inactive market is one, and on the flip side, a market that's way too active. There's just too much going on, too much economic change, too many things happening. It becomes difficult, all right, to find the value. And no two properties are alike. Okay, you guys with me so far? Say, I'm with you, Joe. I'm with you. Right, I'm with you. Okay. So now I mentioned properties that do not have a lot going on around them. What type of property basically never has any comps? I don't want to say always never. You guys know I don't like always. I don't like absolutes. Absolutes are the words like always, never. I prefer words like almost, usually, sometimes. Because there's almost always an exception to just about every rule. So what type of property basically almost never has comps? Nice job, Taylor Naputi. Great job. Nice job, Yolanda White. Special use properties, special purpose properties. Everybody write that down. Everybody write down special purpose properties. Special purpose properties. Everybody write that down. Special purpose properties. Okay, so we're all writing in the chat special purpose properties. You guys are giving some great examples of special purpose properties, but let's just understand what they are as per the technical real estate definition. These are called special purpose properties. And what are we talking about? Libraries, schools, fire stations, police stations. They don't have comps, okay? What's the other thing they don't have which makes it hard to determine the values? They don't really have comps because you take a library, for example. Does anybody still go to the library? I haven't been to a library in ages. Who here goes to a library? I feel like you go to a library like to check your email when you're like out of town. Even then, don't you have a phone? Anyways, so library, okay, doesn't have comps. What else does it not have? Susan goes to the library. Okay, we got some people who love the library. Good for you. Keep the tradition alive. Okay, so it not only doesn't have comps, but it also doesn't have income. Right, guys? It also doesn't have income. Does everybody got that? So that's what also makes it difficult. So that library, let's stick with that library example. It doesn't have comps, but it also doesn't have income. Okay? Do you guys see the problem? So it's really hard to come up with a value of something like this library example that we're using right now. So therefore, how do you come up with the value of that library that we're talking about? What do you guys think? How do you come up with that library value that we're discussing? What do you guys think? Okay, nice job, Jesse Meza. How much would it cost to replace it brand new? Somebody said by selling all the books. Yeah, I guess. How much would it cost to replace it brand new? That's how you'd find the value. And that is called the cost replacement approach. That is what's called the cost replacement approach. What is the flaw with the cost replacement approach? Nice job, Michaela Rangel. Passed her exam yesterday. Awesome. If you want me to share the news on our Instagram page with all the other people who passed, let me know. Get your Instagram profile, some likes and follows. Okay, so the problem with the cost replacement approach is it's not new. Think about this library. You just said how much would it cost to replace it brand new? And the problem obviously is it's not new, especially something like a library. It's not brand new. So you got to factor in depreciation. And the older it is, okay, the harder it is to factor in depreciation. The variable becomes much larger. So you see, for every approach, there's a benefit, but there's also a drawback. Does everybody get that? There's no perfect approach to appraisal. That's why there's multiple ways to appraise a property. And for many properties, you or an appraiser or somebody who's in business will use all the approaches on one property, everything they can to try and come up with a consistent value. Okay? By the way, how am I doing with this webinar style? I'm just free flowing with it, kind of sharing my knowledge. We're not doing the questions today, but we will other days for sure, so don't worry. If you like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up in the YouTube thing below. And when the webinar is done, you can leave some comments. That'd be great. I'd appreciate it. Trying to do a good job here, so any type of appreciation for the effort we put in is always makes me feel good, makes us feel good for what we do. Okay, so we got the cost replacement approach. We got the market data approach. Okay. What's the third approach we have not mentioned yet? What do you guys think? What's the third approach? The income approach. The income approach. So you got the capitalization income approach. And what would that be for? What would that be for? What do you guys think? What would the capitalization income approach be for? So write this down. The income approach, okay, I want you to write this down, converts income into value. So any building that brings in income, it's a shopping mall, stores, things of that nature, buildings that have income. It takes the income and converts it into value. Congratulations, Bryce. Converts income into value. When you think about it logically. You see two properties, and you know in one property, a business there brings in $100,000 a year, and the property next door that sells basically the same stuff brings in $1 million a year. Okay, you're obviously going to pay more if you want to conduct business for the building that's been bringing in $1 million for the businesses that operate there. Right, guys? How much more? Well, that's when the approach comes in. It takes that income and converts it into value. Does everybody get that? That's the point of this. Obviously, there's a lot of details that go into that approach, but I hope you understand the general theory and why it exists. Because you're going to pay more for a building that has potential to bring in more business. And you could look at all the things like where it's located and how pretty it is and what the weather is like and all that kind of good stuff. But at the end of the day, numbers are what they are. And that's what this approach does. It takes a very mathematical approach to finding value based upon potential income that the building has. Okay? So, just to repeat, what are our three approaches? We got the market data approach, we have the cost replacement approach, and we have the capitalization income approach. What do you guys think? Say, got it, Joe. Awesome. You guys notice I got my YouTube award there. That was very exciting. Okay, so that's the approach to finding value. Now, the other thing that comes up in this section of valuation and market analysis, appraisal, is depreciation. What is depreciation? I'm also working on some art. You guys are seeing Prep Agent Studios live, working on some art there. Seeing what I could do, trying to expand my talents. Prep Agent Studios coming live. Okay, depreciation is loss in value from any cause. Loss in value from any cause. Okay. Good. Loss in value from any cause. Now there's different types of depreciation you learn for the exam. What are they? There's three main ways your property can depreciate. Who knows what they are? There's three types of depreciation that you learn when studying for the real estate exam. Who knows what they are? Amanda is leaving to go take her exam. Everybody write in the chat, good luck, Amanda. Everybody write good luck. Let's send Amanda some positive energy, some good vibes as she's on her way to take her exam. Amanda, I'll be over your shoulder like Obi-Wan Kenobi in your ear going, circle A, B, no, don't circle C. It's totally D. What are you doing? No, I won't be like that. If I was like that, you guys would be like, what package is that on the website? I want that. Even though you guys know I was joking, there's part of you guys, like a little part of you guys, like, wait, is he serious? Does that really happen? No. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, never mind. All right, so you have the three types of depreciation. Functional, physical, and economic, right, guys? Functional, physical, and economic. Be honest, guys. How many of you guys are like, wait, does he really do that? Just a little part of you. A little part of you is like, really? Can he like be in my ear? Like how the quarterbacks in the NFL have somebody in their ear? Huh? Okay, so you have functional, physical, and economic. Out of those three, functional, physical, and economic, which one of those is not a form of obsolescence? Which one of those is not a form of obsolescence? So you have functional, physical, and economic. Which one of those is not a form of obsolescence? Physical. So it's actually called physical deterioration. Physical deterioration. So you have physical deterioration, economic obsolescence, and functional obsolescence. Everybody got it? Right? I got it. What I'd like you guys to do right now is give me an example of physical deterioration. In the chat, I'd like you guys to write an example of physical deterioration. So Yolanda White nailed it. Physical deterioration is general wear and tear on the property. So give me an example of physical deterioration. Okay, so leaky roof, paint peeling. My dad had a patio in this building we own growing up. There's a hole in the patio. And you know what he did? He put like a rug over it. And then the hole got bigger. So he put some wood over it. It got bigger. Another piece of wood. And then another piece of wood. And then the rug couldn't hide the wood anymore. So you know what he did? Got a bigger rug. Until literally you stepped on it and somebody almost fell through the patio. And he's like, might need to fix that. But he didn't. So there we go. Lost a ton of value on the property. Because my dad was the master of Band-Aid repairs. Anybody else have parents like that? Or maybe you're like that when you have your property. You're just like, I'll just like cover it up. I'll put my chair in front of it. Nobody will know. It'll be fine. Yeah, it's a little extra breezy in the house, but it's fine. Okay, so you have physical deterioration. Great examples, guys. Next, what is functional obsolescence? What is functional obsolescence? What is functional obsolescence? Functional obsolescence is when a property is simply just not functional. It's poorly designed. Many of you guys are giving an example of a 5-bedroom house with 1 bath or with no garage. Now, obviously, what is functional in one place may not be functional in another. Okay, it all depends. on what's needed and where you're located. But typically it means the things are out of date. It's just not up to modern needs anymore. Okay, so it's just not functional. So last but not least, Esther wrote a bathroom in the kitchen would be functional obsolescence. Yeah, I feel like that would only be functional in like a fraternity house, of which I speculate. I've never been in a fraternity house, but I've seen movies, so I can only guess. Okay, so that's functionally obsolete. And last, you have economic obsolescence. Give me an example of economic obsolescence. Give me an example of economic obsolescence. Economic obsolescence would be your property losing value due to causes that are outside the property lines. So I see crime in the community, airport noise, a railroad station, gas station being put in, pandemic, good one, pig farm moving in next to your property. That's a very specific example. I have a feeling that's not just an example, Cheryl. Does somebody have a pig farm problem? Okay, so that is economic obsolescence. Out of the 3 forms of depreciation we just named, which one is the most difficult to cure? What do you guys think? Which one is the most difficult to cure? And the answer would be economic obsolescence. Good. Economic obsolescence. Nice job, guys. Because physical deterioration, you can repair it. Functional obsolescence, you can remodel it. Economic obsolescence, basically you move. You got to move. Like you could be get into local politics or in a community watch group and things of that nature, but generally speaking, people move when economic obsolescence is the reason property value is declining. Another example of economic obsolescence that comes up when regarding to appraisal is this thing called the principle of regression. So you have the principle of progression and regression. What is the principle of regression? What do you guys think? What is the principle of regression? What do you guys think? So the principle of regression is when you have a property and properties of lesser value are built around your property. Now remember, they're outside of your property and your property's getting pulled down, so that'd be economic obsolescence. So the property value is being pulled down, okay? And that would be economic obsolescence. Your property is regressing. Progression is what? When you have a property, it's around other nicer properties, so the property value is being pulled up. You always hear that location, location, location thing, right? Have you ever heard that? Every time a real estate agent wants to sound smart and fancy, they're always like location, 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 location. It's like, yeah, cool. I watch like $1 Million Listing too, whatever. But agents always say, there's certain things agents always say when they want to sound smart. That's one of them. Location, 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 location. You're like, ugh. So that's what that is about. So generally speaking, if you're buying property for income purposes or investment purposes, you want to get the property that's surrounded by nicer properties. You want the worst property in the neighborhood because the value will be brought up by the local area. If people want to live, then generally they go the reverse. It's not for investment purposes, it's for their living. And so they want to get a nice house. And you could get a nice house you enjoy living in, where maybe the other values are not as much because those values will bring that property value down so you could get a bigger bang for your buck on a really beautiful home. You decide, whatever works for you. Obviously, there's some balance in all this, but you get the idea, okay? For investment purposes, you always keep in mind the area dictates the value. And the principle of progression says If you buy a lesser property in a nicer area, the value get pulled up. And regression, if you buy a nice property in a lesser area, the value get pulled down. Everybody got that? Right? Got it. And last thing I want to go over before I go is this concept of a gross rent multiplier. What is the gross rent multiplier? And if you really don't understand this, I do a video on this that you could look up on YouTube. It's very helpful. I think it'll explain the concept very nicely. So if you don't know it, look it up, but here's the simple explanation. Gross rent multiplier is a simple formula of evaluating income properties by taking the price and dividing it by the rent. And it gives you a number called a gross rent multiplier. Because at the end of the day, you don't care if a property is $1 million or $500,000. You care how it relates to that rent amount. Because if it's $1 million property and rents for $1,000 a month, not a great deal. But if it rents for 30 grand a month, you're like, amazing deal. It's that relationship that matters. So you don't look at, well, that's $1 million, that's 500 grand. You look at $1 million, rents for 20 grand a month, 500 grand, rents for 2 grand a month, and you start looking at the ratio of price divided by rent, which gives you a gross rent multiplier. It's a little more detailed than that. You have to take into account if you're talking about monthly numbers or annual numbers and other things of that nature. So that's why I recommend you look at the video. But that's the general gist of it. With that being said, I'm done with today's experiment of having my face on screen. This is pretty scary, but I wanted to try something new so we could always improve what we're doing. So if you liked it, give me a thumbs up and we will see if we'll do it again. As I said, this will not be always the way we're going to do it. We'll always try and mix things up because I know everybody learns in different ways, and that's the point of this. We're never going to do the same thing all the time. We're going to try going through vocabulary. We're going to have questions. Cynthia's going to teach the way she teaches. Stu does the way he teaches. We really try hard to mix it up so that everybody can watch a learning style that works for them. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day. This recording will be on YouTube for you guys to watch later. Bye.